It's signing week here at 24/7 Sports, and we are taking a look at the first recruiting effort from Mike Elko as he takes over in College Station. Mike Roach and Hudson Standish are here now to break down the Aggies' top 25 class. And guys, this class actually ranks a little low by A&M standards. It's lowest ranking since 2016, but that's just because it's a small class. When you look at the average player rating, it's actually a top 10 class in the nation. So Hudson, I'll start with you. Who is your favorite piece in this class?
Well, you're exactly right, Grace. And I thought that Mike Elko did a tremendous job getting Dalen Evans to stick with his Texas A&M commitment. This is an athletic, disruptive interior force along the defensive line that checks almost every box that we look for when it comes to the 24/7 Sports national scouting team. Does he have the tape? Yes. The production. He's able to get sacks from the interior on an extremely high level. And then you look at his basketball and track and field data. He's catching alley-oops off of inbounds plays. He has 162 personal record in the discus. Finished 6th in the state of Texas, which is an extremely competitive track and field state in the shot put. Dalen Evans, long term, I think has a chance to be one of those rare, guys that can really cause a ton of disruption pass rushing from the interior of the defensive line.
No surprise for me that coming on the heels of Hudson going on the defensive line, I'll go offensive line. I think that you build in the trenches, and that's obviously a focus here. Blake Ivy, the offensive tackle out of Clear Springs, is the guy for me that, faced a lot of competition down the stretch for him. But just like Dalen Evans, we're able to keep him in the class as well. Texas A&M's offensive line went through so many struggles last year, led to quarterback injuries, led to inconsistencies on offense, and ultimately led to the demise of Jimbo Fisher. What you see from Blake Ivy on tape is a mobile, agile, athletic tackle, can play guard, a little shorter than your natural tackles, but really long, is measured, verified with great arm length. And he's a really strong finisher in the run game. He's a capable pass blocker. They've got to get that offensive line back together at A&M, and I think that Blake Ivy is a great starting point for that in this class.
Mike, your two long-term players to watch are safety Miles Davis, who held true despite some thinking he might flip after Jimbo Fisher's firing, and the speedy wide receiver Ernest Campbell. Why are these two your long-term names to watch?
I think that both of those guys are coming into spots where Texas A&M has a little bit of depth there. They don't need those guys to contribute immediately, but both also have the tools to develop into long-term players. When you look at Miles Davis out of Converse Judson, this is a guy, a big-bodied safety who can play in the box. He can play deep in coverage. He could eventually even maybe grow into an off-ball linebacker role. That versatility is so desired in this day and age of sub-packages and the way defenses operate. I love his game. I love his he sees everything in front of him. He reacts to it really quickly, and he comes downhill, and he usually lands there with some physicality. So he's the type of guy that I think matches up well in the SEC. And then Ernest Campbell, a two-time Texas 100-meter state champion, runs a 10-200. I mean, that is absolutely flying at the high school level. Hudson and I actually saw him win one of those gold medals a couple of years ago. And this guy can move. He's a little bit smaller than desired, but I think when you look at replacing speed on offense like Evan Stewart and Anaya Smith, this is a guy that could come give you some of that instant speed. He was a centerpiece for Refugio's team that has been, a state power. They've had a couple really deep runs and actually appeared in the state championship in 2022. And I think you see him immediately on special teams, and I think he's a guy that can factor in at the receiver position in the next couple of years.
And Hudson, for your immediate impact player, you are looking at 4-star edge Solomon Williams, the number 13 edge prospect in the country. And he's someone A&M was interested in before the coaching change. So why do you think he can make an immediate impact?
For the instant impact players, the early enrollees always are going to have that advantage, right? In the portal era, it's really hard to be a true freshman and contribute. So getting that extra offseason work, especially with a new staff, I think is going to benefit Solomon Williams a ton. As you can see on tape, extremely strong at the point of attack. I mean, he's really a bully when it comes to the line of scrimmage, but he also has the bend to quickly get around guys. I could see him being used as a situational pass rusher and somebody that I think could really feast in third down scenarios for Mike Elko's aggressive defensive scheme.
Now, the jewel of this class could be five-star defensive back Terry Bussey. He's the highest-rated prospect who remains uncommitted before this February signing day. He committed to the Aggies in late September, but Georgia and LSU making a late push for his signature. Mike, what do you make of this whole situation of him waiting to sign?
There's no question that the most important need for Texas A&M right now is to secure Terry Bussey. The productive two-way athlete, can play on either side of the ball legitimately, is one of the most prolific Texas high school football players of all time. I think when he made the decision in the fall, LSU was making a really strong push at the time, but I think A&M was where he was most comfortable. They were very early on him. They had established that relationship. And I think even knowing that there might be some uncertainty in the coaching staff, he still made that decision. I don't think he wants to come off of it easily. When Jimbo Fisher was dismissed, Terry Bussey did say, hey, I'm going to take some visits. I'm going to go look at some other places. Just was at Georgia this past weekend. It should be at LSU today. And then we'll finish his visit tour with A&M this weekend. The Aggies getting that all-important final visit, I think, is potentially the tipping point here. A lot of people we've talked to, Hudson and I both, and Hudson's very tapped in with that recruitment as well, have said LSU is the biggest threat, and we'll see kind of what that visit to Baton Rouge produces. But I do think this A&M staff, getting him on the last weekend they can get him, can make that big push. And if they can do that, they can keep him in this class and really salvage a tough situation they came into with one of the best athletes in the country.
All right. We'll be looking forward to seeing what happens. Mike Roach and Hudson Standish with the latest. Thank you. And for more Texas A&M football and recruiting news, be sure to check out gig'em247.com. Our reporters have their boots on the ground out there in College Station in this new era of Aggie football, bringing you the latest before anyone else. That's gig'em247.com.